That night, they said I called out, "Why? Why didn't you kill me instead?" But I don't remember it. Several weeks after that night, 100 yards of fine mourning cloth. They were delivered to the White House. Elizabeth told me I had ordered it a month before that night. And I don't remember it. Mr. Lincoln had dreams, terrible dreams. A few weeks before that night, he dreamed he was walking down the stairs in his long nightshirt. He entered the East Room, and he saw a coffin, and he heard people mourning and crying as if their hearts were broken. He asked, "Why, who is dead in the White House?" And the answer came, "The President." I feared this. I was always afraid. Why, there were threats even before we arrived at the White House. The papers printing lies and gross distortions. Everything the President said. Why, I do believe they were trying to turn the people against my beloved husband. Oh, Washington, it is not an easy place to live. When we arrived at the White House, it was in a sad and forlorn state. Why, it was filled with bits and pieces of ramshackle furniture that looked like cast-off. It was not fit for the President. It was not fit for President Lincoln. So naturally, as the First Lady of the House, I undertook what improvements I could. I covered the floors with fine Oriental rugs. I ordered beautiful china with our nation's symbol, the eagle, in the very center. A symbol of the union of which all the people could be proud. I think it would have been irresponsible of me to have done less. Yet the papers, they would have me a criminal. No, Washington is not an easy place to live. The women of Washington are cruel and hard. While they believed us to be illiterate backwoods people, and neither of us were that. My father, Robert Todd, he believed I had a quick mind, and he wanted me educated. He sent me to all of the schools in Lexington, and he wanted me to learn. Why, Todd was a very respected name in Lexington society. And as for Mr. Lincoln, he taught himself enough to become President of the United States, and I do believe that speaks for itself. Yet the women of Washington took pride in their smug, rude ways. And I must tell you, that does not pass for sophistication in Lexington, Kentucky society. Yes, everything I did came under cruel and hateful scrutiny. Did I dare have a ball gown made for an important White House reception? Did I order my husband some gloves for shaking hundreds of hands? Yet again, I was a criminal. Abraham? Is that Abraham I hear?
Lincoln came from Kentucky. He was born here in Kentucky. He was raised in Kentucky. Jefferson Davis, the President of the Confederacy, was born in Fairview, Kentucky, 100 miles west of where Lincoln was born at. The American Civil War was fought. Over 700,000 people. It was known until about 20 years ago, about 650,000 people died. Over 700,000 can be contributed today to the American Civil War. It was not just a war that was fought on U.S. soil. The American Civil War was fought in England because they were our allies. Europe were our allies. The Canadians that were French were our allies. So basically, every nation in the world fought the American Civil War, even though it was just fought here and thought to be the American Civil War. Yes, Americans fought it, brother against brother, father against son, cousin against cousin. But it was a war that basically was fought here in the United States, for the United States, by United States citizens. But there were other people. The Irish Brigade from Ireland. Their ancestors came over in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, just like everybody else's ancestors did. The Great Potato Famine of 1640 saw an influx in New York of thousands and thousands of Irish immigrants, Italian immigrants. They fought in the American Civil War. They wanted to become Americans. Their heritage today, we have reenactors, a whole Irish brigade of about 1,500 that come from Ireland, Scotland, and England to participate in the Battle of Gettysburg every 5 years when we have a national event. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president. He came here in 1864. He stayed at the Farmington Mansion on Bardstown Road. It's a 540-acre hemp plantation started by Joshua Speed in 1803. By 1865, Joshua had been dead and gone. James Speed, the boyhood friend of Abraham Lincoln, was at the time in 1864 the Attorney General under Lincoln. Before Lincoln decided to run for president, and before he married Mary Todd, which the Todd family from Lexington, Kentucky was an outstanding name, and the Transylvania University, we can thank the Todds for that university. He came to Louisville. He stayed with his friend Joshua Speed and James Speed. He slept in this mansion, which still stands today. During his time here, he decided that he wanted to take Mary Todd as his wife. So when he left Louisville, he went back to Illinois where he proposed to Mary Todd. He was married. They stayed there. They had children. Lincoln never came back to Kentucky that we know of after that visit. During his time as president, when he was elected in 61, he went from Illinois to Philadelphia to the White House. He made several trips that even today are not accessible to the public. They probably really don't know where he went. He could have came to Kentucky. We do know, however, James Speed in 1864, being in his position, was at the White House and was talking with Lincoln about how to draw up different papers. James Speed in 62 helped Lincoln design the Emancipation Proclamation. Kentucky has a real good tie to both the North and the South. We are reenacting the North, we are reenacting the South. The clothing that the ladies have on and the clothing that we have on are reproduction. This hat here, and there's items throughout that I'd like you to get up at the end of the presentation, walk around, look at, you can pick them up, try them on. Ladies want to try on a dress, that's fine. Gentlemen want to put a jacket, hat on, pants, that's fine. Might not fit you unless you're as short as I am. This is a slouch hat. There were 2 or 3 different hats. This here is the typical hat. You can see how bad it is. I got married in this hat, by the way, gentlemen. I am sweaty. I have a lot of deodorant on. The hat that the sergeant has on here is a Union hat. This is a Confederate hat. The clothing, this is called jean wool. The pants that I have on is a traditional Union light blue, which the Union wore and the Confederacy wore. The Confederacy had basically your gray, they had butternut, and then they had what's called the jean wool. Your military uniforms consisted of wool and muslin shirts, brogans, which are, get this down without falling, handmade 100% top-to-bottom leather. Comes straight off the cow. The cobbler made them, pegged them. It's all leather. The heel is pieces of leather stripped together. They didn't have no glue, so they were sewed and pegged, little pegs in the bottom. You hear and you see about the soldiers walking out in their boots. As I was explaining to somebody earlier, a soldier back in '64 could have walked from the wharf on 4th Street all the way up Bardstown Road to where the Watterson comes together there and walked the bottoms off of a pair of brogans on dirt. Didn't have no gravel, didn't have no blacktop, didn't have no concrete back then. It was mostly dirt. So anything that you could do, pieces of metal, twigs, sticks, bark, anything that you could do for the bottoms of your boots to keep them comfortable. These are not comfortable. When they get wet, they are leather. These were 2 sizes too big for me. First battle I got in that I had to stand in water up to here. As a reenactor, we do that. They marched me out at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I stood in water waiting till the battle at dawn. And when they get wet, they're leather. You've seen the old movies where they stake people out, the Indians, and the leather straps dry? Well, that's what these do. They'll shrink to your feet. Most guys, when they get a brand new pair of brogans, they'll put them on, 3 pairs of socks, thick socks, put their feet in water for about an hour, then walk around all day and let them shrink to their feet. I'm going to let the ladies explain their clothing. This here is Sandy Jackson, my wife. This is Carolyn Renfro, one of our members. So at this time, I'm going to have them explain the hats, the pins, the different layers of clothing that they wear.
Welcome. We're glad you're all here today. We are Civil War reenactors, like my husband said, and we live in a tent every other weekend. We sleep in a tent, we cook on an open fire, we use cast iron cookware, we cook basically anything that you would eat at home, we cook on an open fire. We make chicken, we make stews, we make potatoes, whatever. Usually it's me and Carolyn that decide the menu for the weekend.
Beans.
But that's how we live. Over here you'll see a quilt that was given to us. It is actually a slave quilt. It's actually from the 1840s to 1860s. You can see that it's got the real cotton. You can see the cotton seams in it if you take a close look. It was hung on a fence, and it's tattered on one end, so you'll be able to see where it was hung. And it would signal the next safe house for the slaves. The pattern and the quilt would signal them where the next safe house they were going to go to in order to get protection.